Madam Speaker, Ms. Raymond Ganchner, Mr. Deputy Speaker, Mr. Chris de Entremont, Honorable Dr. Heidi Fry, Members of Parliament, members of OSCE Parliamentary Assembly, ladies and gentlemen. It's a true pleasure to see you all in the beautiful city of Vancouver. It brings me immense joy to bring the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly to the hometown of our esteemed member, Dr. Heidi Fry. I would also like to start to say thank you to the Canadian Parliament for hosting the annual session. We open our 30th annual session in a city that is inseparably linked with the OSCE and our shared purpose. Over 3 decades ago, as the Cold War came to a close, the Paris Charter unveiled a bold and visionary perspective. It envisioned a collective and collaborative security framework, fostering peace, democracy within a vast expanse, starting from this very city all the way to the Far East. Sadly, OSCE have fallen short of delivering the lasting stability that was promised. Today, the spectrum of instabilities seem unmatched. Russian expansionism in Moldova, in Georgia, and its illegal war against Ukraine has posed a persistent threat to the European security architecture. Since last year, Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine threatened the collapse of the European security order. But with your support, with your country's support, Ukraine is heroically defending its country, safeguarding our common values and preserving the rule-based international order. And we do stand united behind Ukraine. Yet, anywhere in the OSCE region, we must remain Italian. Always, always be aware about the risk that the war fosters insecurity and, in worst case, another war. And let me mention some other issues we, as members of OSCE Parliamentary Assembly, need to pay attention to. The growing tension in the Western Balkans call for our continued care and attention. In the South Caucasus, the road to durable peace and reconciliation remains long and difficult. In Central Asia, we must continue to strengthen regional cooperation to deal with common threats, particularly considering the situation in Afghanistan. We should not let the Arctic become an area of confrontation. And through the OSCE region, in every of our participating states, we must pay close attention to the transnational challenges which continue to fragment and polarize our societies. And let me mention the threat from the climate change, with the risk of rising temperatures, forest fires, lack of water, but also the challenge against democracy, the challenge against the free media, the challenge of the civil society. These are all very important issues for us to pay attention to and to support for peace and security in the OSCE region. Dear colleagues, in this troubled context, it is fitting that we meet in Vancouver. This city's multicultural fabric invites us to reflect on the OSCE's mission of promoting mutual understanding and cooperation. As we look out to Vancouver Bay and its evergreen mountains, we must feel energized to address our environmental challenges and combat climate change. And building on Heidi Fry's pioneering work, we must continue to strengthen our commitment to gender equality, drawing inspiration from Vancouver's achievements to promote inclusive society throughout OSCE. Dear friends, dear members of parliament, evidently the war in Ukraine remains at the top of our political agenda for this annual session. And this morning, our standing committee established a new committee to more effectively coordinate our actions in support of Ukraine and its people. In a moment, this assembly will consider a draft resolution on the OSCE and the OSCE PA's credibility in the face of Russia's continued aggression against Ukraine. OSCE Parliamentary Assembly, we have stand united with Ukraine since the illegal annexation of Crimea 2014, and we will continue to do so until the war is over and Ukraine have reached an agreement to keep its international recognized territory, independence and freedom, because that's why we are here. And I see this as a very crucial part of our debates for the coming day. And in a moment, the Assembly will consider a draft resolution on the OSCE and the OSCE's PA's credibility in the face of Russia's continued aggression against Ukraine. And because while Russia's actions continue to threaten the OSCE's existence, what is happening in Ukraine also justifies the unique role of OSCE. There is a need for OSCE to continue its work. It clearly demonstrates that without comprehensive security, there is no true security. That without meaningful dialogue, but instead states lies, deceit, there are no ground for mutual trust. That without free elections, without independent media, without a strong civil society, and without democratic control, war can be unleashed on our neighbor. And that, with in mind, hell-bent on destructions, ecologic and nuclear disasters can become reality. But we will not let this happen and be quiet. We will continue to support peace and stability, democracy. Colleagues, with this in mind, let me encourage you to use our 5 days of debate to defend the role of OSCE as a tried and tested instrument for stability. While there is still great uncertainty about how OSCE can continue to function in the months and years ahead, the Parliamentary Assembly should pave a way of this precarious situation. And I'm very proud to announce that the Standing Committee adopted also the budget for 23-24 this morning in the Standing Committee. Your strong convictions are needed more than ever to safeguard multilateralism today and ensure that tomorrow the unique organization of OSCE is able to fully play its role. After all, the OSCE does not only depend on what our predecessors decided in 1975 or in 1990. It largely depends on what we do today what we do tomorrow, what kind of decisions do we take, and how do we keep those decisions with us back home in our national parliament and in our constituencies. It depends on our commitment to regularly engage with our governments, with diplomats, with international organizations, and far and most as parliamentarians elected by our people in our constituency, how we bring the message with us back home, because we need to continue the work after the meeting is ended. And also, the result of our work, it depends on our ability to engage with our constituency, with the citizens, for those who have voted for us, to let them know that the value of OSCE and why OSCE organization truly matters. In today's world, it largely depends on our capacity to mobilize civil society and flexible coalitions to complement the work of the government, because we, as parliamentarians, we are the legislators, we are the ones who are elected. And I would say that tomorrow, if we want the OSCE to be the space for real dialogue between all 57 participating states, it also depends on our willingness to empower diverse voices, including young and female leaders throughout the OSCE region. And let me say that multilateralism, there are those who say that multilateralism is not relevant any longer. I say the opposite. Multilateralism is very important. We need to support it. We need to show that we, members of OSCE, member of a multilateral organization, that we can make impact. And this is some of my thoughts for the debate to guide our debates here in Vancouver. And I really wish all of you the best outcome of the meeting, to be active, because nobody else will be active if you are not active, if you are not taking the floor. So please use this meeting for peace and stability in our region. And I wish you the most constructive discussions for the next few days. And I hope that when we leave the beautiful city of Vancouver, we can exploit the political energy here in our room to ensure that together we can overcome the OSCE's existential challenge and continue to build on 5 decades of Euro-Atlantic and Euro-Asian security cooperation. And that's what the people in our countries expect from us. But let me also say, I hope that you will get some time to explore city of Vancouver. And if I should say, if you should do something that really is extraordinary, it's to take a tour with the boat, to go out and observe the beautiful killer whales when they are jumping, when they are swimming around in the water outside of Vancouver, because that's something really extra, and it's only positive to see and explore all around the world here in Vancouver. Thank you very much. Wish you a pleasant annual session. Thank you.